Hello and welcome to Military Mantra. So today we are with Wing Commander Dinesh sir, and here is a cockpit of Boeing 787, and we'll try to understand his life journey of joining the Air Force and what he's doing beyond it now as an aircraft investigator, and why are we in front of a cockpit right now, and trying to understand various things which has unfolded in the past few months related to air crash, related to his experiences, and which he will be sharing with us. So thanks a lot sir for coming here and welcome.
Thank you, Akash, for coming to Cockpit Vista. So you are sitting in a 737 cockpit, and the cockpit is essentially for passengers. I help them get over their fear of flying. So passengers come here, they take a program, and I use this cockpit to help them understand aeroplanes and help them understand how pilots fly and what ATC does and what the engineers do, and give you a full understanding of how this aviation ecosystem works, and that gives you a trust on the aeroplanes and the aviators, and that is a big way of getting over the flight anxiety. In the present context of this AI 171 crash, this is important because you must have seen so many things being spoken by people, experts and non-experts. I wish they have had an experience with a cockpit, and had they had this experience, probably they would have limited their words to maybe 1/100th of what they are saying,
Hmm.
because the facts and what the illusion that is there in the media or anywhere are way different.
Got it.
So you are sitting in a cockpit which is of a 737, and as we go forward, maybe we'll talk about it.
Sure, sir. So, sir, I've been myself an aspirant who want to join the forces. So I love aircrafts. But after the incident which has happened in Ahmedabad, where the Air India has crashed, so there's of course a lot of anxiety. A lot of people who wanted to travel probably may, say delay it, postpone it because of the fear. So how do you interpret the whole report which came out last week, and what is your reading about it?
So let me first begin with the crash itself. Uh, this particular crash has actually generated a lot of fear amongst the people. And the reason is, A, it happened with a complete video of about, say, 1 odd minute. B, it happened from a prominent airport in the country. C, it is the first hull loss of a 787.
Hmm.
And the interesting thing about a long haul flight is that our parents, our elders, they fly in this to US and to Europe to meet their children. So this is the first time that the elder generation is also now worried, and the younger children are worried about their elderly people. But I think the most dominating of all the reasons is that this is one crash which has taken away a large number of people on the ground,
Yes.
and people who are staying on the flight path of an aeroplane, they are now worried how safe are they. This is not about
Hmm.
Ahmedabad. This is about all over the country. People are worried now, those who have houses on the flight path, because this has proved that any aeroplane can fall anytime over any place without any given reason.
Hmm.
So that's how this air crash is very unique in the Indian context and in the global context also, because the stakes are very high for Boeing, the stakes are very high for Air India, and the stakes are very high for the designer, for the certification agency, which is FAA.
Hmm.
In all, the stakes are very high for the United States, because they are the one who are the designers, they are the manufacturers, and they are also the ones who do large scale investigations for such aeroplanes by through their agency called NTSB. So that's about the accident.
Hmm.
Now, the accident happened, we know what happened on the ground, but we always go by what is known as a preliminary report to understand ab initio what happened in this particular crash.
Okay.
So this report has generated, has given away a lot of information, factual information, but unfortunately, it has stopped short of telling what happened.
Hmm.
So the expectations of the people was not what are the technicalities of the subject. They were more interested in what happened. So though this report serves the purpose for the aviation verticals, it doesn't serve a good purpose for the public, because they
Hmm.
were interested in knowing what happened, and it's left a question mark over the Boeing's technical validity, and also over the pilot's action. So it's a very messy state right now. The report has not helped anyone. It has probably created lot of misunderstanding, I would say. And this I'm saying from the public perspective. That means, the people perspective. As an investigator, I know there is nothing wrong. A preliminary report is supposed to be preliminary. Its job is not to give you any outcome. Its job is to just state the facts and say what is the present state of the progress of the investigation. So that perspective public will not understand, and they have done what they're supposed to do. There is a international standards for investigating air crash all over the world. They are following that booklet. That booklet, which is known as ICAO Annexure 13, is something that has got a lot of things written which probably are counter-intuitive for the public. Okay, yeah, a lot of things which are counterintuitive, because it is not meant to appease the public. It is meant to find out the fault in an aeroplane, about the system.
Got it.
So
if you can give an example of when you meant, counterintuitive.
So the first thing like I can say is that this preliminary investigation report is not required to be brought out public.
Okay.
Because it is supposed to be for all those stakeholders who need to understand what happened in this aeroplane and if any immediate action is required. In fact, the book says, please bring out this report in public only if it is likely to arouse public interest. Now this has arisen the public interest because this happened, like I told you, in Ahmedabad, in video, in so many things. So that is why they have brought out the report. Otherwise, so many accidents happen across the world. You don't find a preliminary report being generated, or rather it is generated every time, but it is sent to the people. Nobody asks for that preliminary report.
Correct.
I'll give you an example. There's been a helicopter crash in Kedarnath.
Yes.
In fact, 3 of them.
Yes.
Did you see a preliminary report of that?
No.
We didn't see a preliminary report. But a preliminary report has been generated. It has been given to, circulated amongst those who need to know, like the DGCA, the helicopter manufacturer, the designer, the certification authority, and all those people. So this is a accident which has got, in fact, global attention because it's a 787.
Got it, sir.
So on the whole, if you ask me, it's a very unique situation we are in because of a 787 going through a first hull loss.
Got it, sir. So my next question would be, we have gone through the report. They have mentioned the discussion between the pilot and the co-pilot. What were the conversations? They have pointed to the fuel tank, the buttons which are there on the cockpit. While you say these are just preliminary reports of what happened, but it has led to a lot of speculation because everybody wants to be an expert because everybody has access to internet and ChatGPT and they can search how those things work. How do you look at it today? And does that also mean there's going to be another report which is going to be more detailed and really answers those questions?
Very much. You see, in any investigation, you can break it into 3 parts. The first is known as what happened. Second is why it happened. And third is how it happened. So this report only answers the first part, what happened. Okay. What happened? That the switch was there which went down, the engines conked off, the engine switched off, and therefore the aircraft lost power. The aircraft glided down and hit the building, and after that whatever you saw happened, the devastation. Now, why it happened and how it happened is all about finding out why the switch came down. So the investigating agency's second and third job is what people are speculating on.
Okay.
And it's a phase. It's the first phase and the second phase. The investigating agency is yet to say why it happened and how it happened. People have jumped the gun to answer the why and how. Now it's a very scientific process, this investigation. That's what it is not. It's not making a bhel puri or something like that. You just shake something and something will come out. It is a scientific process. The steps have to be followed in that sequence. Okay. So investigating agency is yet to find out why and how it happened. Now, what is different about that why and how? It's very easy to say what happened because it's more factual. Okay, you look at the flight data recorder. There are few indicators which say the switch went down, because there's a probably a dot which comes and says yes, it went down. There is a dot which says it went up. So we know the fuel switches came down and up. There's a cockpit voice recorder in which the pilot spoke something that has been recorded, and based on that, you know at this point in time when the switch went up or down, or after that the pilot said XYZ. Now the point, let's take this as an example only. Why the switch came down? There's a huge amount of technical investigation you have to do.
Okay.
Software validation, you have to do hardware validation, you have to do testing of the hardware, you have to take it through a similar situation. Probably there'll be simulations that will be done. There'll be probably designs of the same piece made. There'll be aircrafts which will be flown to simulate this particular condition in probably the manufacturer's place. Test pilots will get involved. So you heard somewhere that some pilots from Air India, they simulated in the simulator.
Yes.
So those are all very rudimentary way of finding out. But the real pilots, the Boeing and all these people will sit with lot of technical things. They will dwell into it, and mind you, these investigations not only cost time, they cost huge money. If required, an investigator will ask Boeing to build a complete laboratory to do a particular test. So that particular process takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort, and takes a lot of money. And at the end of it, what you find is usually a highly validated output, which in Hindi they said डंके के चोट पे अगला बोलेगा कि नहीं यही हुआ है.
Okay.
So today what he's saying is ki these are the facts, this is what we think. But when they say in the final report, which is a mandatory ICAO requirement that you have to generate a public report, that public report will carry everything with the stamp of validation by the AIB.
Got it, sir. So,
and that takes time.
Got it. So you spoke about the AIB, which you are also part of. If you could explain what that organization does and in what capacity you work there.
Okay, so my job is hybrid in AIB. AIB is Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau. It's a specialized agency only for doing investigation of aircraft accidents and serious incidents. So many people confuse this with DGCA. DGCA is a regulator, and AIB's sole job is to do investigation. It is an independent organization, at least supposed to be, and this organization should generate very factual information devoid of any influence from anyone, including politics. So AIB typically has got full working functionaries, and they have got something called the subject matter expert. I am an AIB subject matter expert in the vertical of air crash investigation and engineering.
Got it, sir.
So my job is to go there and do what the AIB did in this particular case when called upon. So we are a pool of investigators. The Director General AIB, in his wisdom, decides who needs to be called for this particular out of the pool.
Got it.
So we always wish that we never get called, because we don't want accidents around. But if there were a sequence of accidents to happen in a country, then usually everyone would get a chance.
Got it.
I wish I don't.
Got it, sir. So there's one more thing which keeps coming up on internet is the one person who survived this air crash which has happened. It's a specific seat, and there is somebody else also who had survived on a similar seat. So how do you interpret that? Because usually it was read that if you sit behind, there are more chances of survival.
It has got nothing to do with any of the things that you have spoken or anything that you would have read. It is providential. It is incidental. Okay. So an aircraft can come down. It can come down smashing. It can come down gliding down. It can come down as a crash landing also. How it comes down, how it hits, what is the angle, what is the speed, all these things decide what will break, what will catch fire, what will disintegrate, how an impact will be felt on you. So there are a lot of things, and seat number has got nothing to do with this particular accident. It is just providence that that man, where he was sitting, he probably did not, he survived, first of all, the impact. Number two is that he was able to come out of it before the fire engulfed him, or he was lucky that where he fell, the fire was not there. So I will explain this to you in a little detail. That is where I said the AIB report is very, very exhaustive. People say, what was the requirement to give all those details about which building and how? So that is where you have to understand this aircraft first hit a structure in the army cantonment area. That is not of very great significance. But the moment it hit there, it would have changed some of the physics of the aircraft, the angle and all those stuff. But what is important is when it hit the first building, it hit with a nose up attitude, and that is why the tail went, hit there, broke, and got stuck there. But the aircraft did not stop there. Aircraft continued to move forward, and every time it moved forward, it hit some building, lost one part. At one place, it lost the legs, the undercarriage. Another part, it lost the wing. Third part, it lost the engine. And finally, about I think 1,000 feet from, or 750 feet from the first impact location of the building, and in fact 1,000 feet from the first army cantonment where it hit a structure. So the cockpit lay there, because cockpit is the last thing that the first thing and the last one to come to a stop. So where you land up, all those things will decide your this thing. And yes, credit to this gentleman. I do not know him, we do not know him. He must have had a very good presence of mind, because if you don't have a good presence of mind, even sometimes after surviving, there's a big chance of you losing life, because you need to come out of it and run away, or take a breath and say, okay, now I need to do this. So I'll give you an example of providence, like what you say. You must have seen that crash in Azerbaijan.
Okay.
There was a crash of an aeroplane. It's all on video, very recent, just 6 months back, 5 months back. About 40-50 people survived in that.
Okay.
Because the aircraft crash landed. So it's all about who gets lucky and who doesn't get lucky, and much depends on how the aircraft falls. And I normally take people very close to real life scenario. You have a motorcycle accident. Whether you survive or not depends on how you fell. After falling, did a truck come over you? Then did the motorcycle itself come over you? Did something spill fuel and burn you? So it is just as providential as that.
Got it.
So do not give any credence to seat number 11A nor to his position. I know after that fear of flying courses, people have come who say, now I only fly 11A.
Got it, sir.
But good to have some belief. You have to choose a seat. Might as well choose what gives you more confidence. So nothing wrong. But if you ask me, was there any reason why he survived with 11A or with this thing? No, absolutely no.
Got it, sir. So before you came into this field, you were in the Indian Air Force. So if you can speak about that, how was your journey before joining the Indian Air Force, and what led to you to join the IAF, and what was your motivation back then?
Okay, too many questions, but let me try to put them in sequence. And I think that is the very purpose of this podcast also. I think the accident is incidental. So I am from a service background. My father was in the army. Then he later on shifted to BSF. In my childhood, when I was age 2, 3, 4, 5 plus, I was with the family was with my father. We have got posted to very remote places in Mizoram those days, where you have to walk 3 days to reach the location. So my background, first of all, brings me to the forces, because those were the days when a doctor's son would become a doctor, a Fauji's son would become a Fauji. But why did I join the Air Force? That is a very interesting story. When I was a child, we were in a place called Lunglai.
Okay.
In Lunglai, we were we were sent ration to eat, that is food to eat, medicines to take by the IAF helicopters. So these helicopters would come 5 times in a day, bring food and all these things for us. And this is not a wartime this thing. It is a normal.
This is in Mizoram?
Mizoram,
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
yes, Lunglai. And now Lunglai is a town, and I'm talking about 80s when Lunglai was nobody knew Lunglai. So these helicopters would come, and we, the kids of my father was the deputy commandant of that unit there. We would stand at the helipad and very expectedly look at the helicopter. After putting the things down from the helicopter, the pilot would say, usually a flight lieutenant, he would say, "Come over." We would enter. He would take us for a nice round of the hills, get us back. We would thank him. And next time whenever the helicopter is there, we are back there. It's like the way
Right.
child stand there for sweet distribution. And like this, I've had a lot of rides in helicopter. Mind you, it's not possible today. You can keep waiting at the helipad. This will not happen now because those were the days. Those were the days of the good days of the Air Force, I would say. So I had made up my mind to join the Air Force. But as I came to class 12th, I realized that I had spectacles, and spectacle is you are debarred from joining as a pilot.
Okay.
So I said, let me do engineering and get back to the Air Force. And I did that. I did electronics engineering and then came into flying. Came into the Air Force. And in the Air Force, I came to the MiG-21 fleet. And in the MiG-21 fleet, I had a lot of opportunity to fly in a MiG-21.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like the real flying or on the cockpit?
The real flying,
okay.
real flying. So I will tell something for this will be a very good information for your audience, that in Air Force there is a very unique provision that people who are working on a particular fleet of aeroplane, the engineers, sorry, not the people, the engineers who are working on a very particular fleet, that fleet you can fly for the purpose of testing and for the purpose of observation. So unlike civil, where there is no requirement for you to be flying, no requirement for you to be testing, here it's not like that. If you're posted in a MiG-21 unit, you are authorized to fly in the MiG-21 for the purpose of testing and for the purpose of observation.
Got it.
Now the question is, how many times can you fly? That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Because there is no limit to it. If you want, you can fly as many number of times, because nowhere it says you can fly only one time. As many times your unit thinks that you need to test, you can fly. So typically this is the law position, rule position. But how it happens is, you are in a unit, you're working as a team with 25-30 officers, pilots, engineers, logisticians. So you work like brothers basically. Okay. So if you say to your flight commander, the flight commander is the man who is the boss of the flight side, operation side. If you say, sir, chale, nahi, aaj khali ja rahe ho kya, sir? He says, yeah, you want to come? You board the cockpit, and so both of you fly together.
Got it.
So so for those who want to join as engineers in the Air Force also, you will get enough opportunity to fly in the cockpit as the co-pilot of that particular aircraft.
Got it.
And if your passion was to do that and yet be on the ground, I think this is an amazing profession.
Got it.
Of course, you have to ask for this. So I would ask for flying many times, as many number of times. Apart from this, in the Air Force, you have these experimental or recreational aeroplanes, like the microlight and all. Once again, it's at your disposal. You just tell the officer, he's your colleague, say, hey, I want to fly this year. He will take you. Then you're flying in a Antonov 32, let's say. We will know the captain most of the time because they are our colleagues. So we don't have these problems like the civil, that you cannot enter the cockpit and all that stuff. He'll say, come on in.
Got it.
So your exposure to the cockpit in an Air Force, even if you are a ground duty officer, is amazing if you want it.
Got
And
it.
if you don't want it, I mean, you can continue to be an engineer and work and, get out of it.
Got it.
So I had an amazing life in the Air Force. Probably I have two incidents that I can tell you to connect with flying. Should I?
Sure, sir.
Okay. One of them, since I just mentioned that you can fly whenever you want. I was on one such flight from Chandigarh. Me and a squadron leader, who was our squadron pilot. We had taken off, and we were at about 33,000 feet over the Manali hills when we found that the engine started misbehaving.
Okay.
And that is the day we did the drill for ejection.
Okay.
So he said, Dinesh, looks like, in fact, first he said, on my indication, I am getting engine swaying, the RPM is swaying. What about you? I said, sir, on my indication also it is coming the same. He said, okay, if both of us having the same indication, that means the engines are actually malfunctioning. So he said, we might have to eject. And the onus of pulling the ejection seat was on me because I was in the rear cockpit.
Okay.
So MiG-21 trainer has got front and rear cockpit. This trainer is basically used to train the pilots.
Yeah.
Okay. That is how they then jump into a single cockpit. So we revised the drill, and we said, in case required, I said I will pull the handle, and obviously we expect to survive after that. We did an immediate turn back and came to the Chandigarh Air Base. By grace of God, we landed. So after that, we removed the engine, we removed the fuel pump of this engine, and we sent it to HAL, which is our overall agency. And in HAL, when this pump was put on the test bed, within 5 minutes of operation, it conked off.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like it was at a stress point, the breaking point, and it conked off.
Got it.
So how I put it is that had we flown for 5 more minutes, either I would have been history or I would have been a hero. So that was one experience that experience, that makes you much more wiser in your understanding of what flying and all these things are all about. So in my job as an AAIB investigator, I am very dispassionate about taking sides, because I understand personally what safety is all about. Yet another incident, of course, this time I was not the one who was in the cockpit. It was that I had offered an aircraft for flying, and I was standing after seeing of the pilot, who was my colleague. In fact, my last words to him were, तू आगे निकल, मैं पीछे वाले जहाज में आ रहा हूँ. Because there was a IL-76 which was going, so I said I'll come in that. And we were supposed to have a party in the evening. With that, he closed the cockpit, the canopy, and he took off. And this happened in Palam.
Okay.
In the civil airport, Palam. I'm talking about 2000. He took off. I saw the aircraft lift off about 100 feet. Okay. And I saw the aircraft go down.
Okay.
And after about maybe a minute or 30-40 seconds, I saw a big plume of fire at the other end of the runway. And I am standing in the Air Force side of the Delhi Palam area, and this happened on the civil side of the Delhi Palam airport.
This is a IL, which is
no, a MiG-21.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention a MiG-21.
Okay.
My entire career has been with the MiG-21s. So I saw this. So now I was in a very catch-22 state. What do I do? There is a colleague of mine who's there in distress, and there is a civil airport on which I am not supposed to be seen. And I took a very strong, aviation safety considered decision, I would say. I looked to the other side of this active runway on which he had taken off. At a distance, I saw one aircraft coming, and I had to take a call. I took a call. I said, I will enter the runway. I entered the runway with a gypsy that I had. I drove on the runway, reached the other side, because I know only one path to reach the other side
Hmm.
where the crash had happened. And I reached there, fought the fire. Unfortunately, by the time we removed the pilot, he had inhaled fire and he had died. But this particular aircraft which was coming behind,
Hmm.
he had to do a go round in this process. So I'm possibly one of those few, maybe one of those one person only who has driven a gypsy on an active runway of Delhi airport. So these are some of the unique experiences that you get when you are in the military flying. I doubt if you will ever get this in civil flying, because there all the jobs are very fragmented. Everything is very organized. Whereas in military, you innovate.
Hmm.
A pilot innovates other verticals. We innovate something. Everyone just innovates, and because the mission is very important. For me that day the mission was to save the pilot.
Hmm.
It didn't matter to me as long as I'm making a safe decision. So today when I look at it, I have a lot of satisfaction of one thing, that I reached there and I did what I was supposed to do, including removing the flight data recorder
Okay.
of that. Yeah. Because that if that gets burnt, we will never know what happened,
Hmm.
why it happened. So that's another incident. So like this, there are umpteen number of incidents that make up your exciting life of the Air Force.
Got it.
So this just to give you a hint about where the excitement of the Air Force life starts. And imagine if this was to be a very regular thing. That makes the military life very, very exciting.
Got it, sir. Sir, I'll take you back to the time when you joined the Air Force, because a lot of aspirants watch my channel. How was your experience in the service selection board? I think you would have gone to AFSP. How did you prepare? How was your complete experience, and what tips you would like to give to aspirants who would be probably going?
Okay. I will speak very contrary to what most people know about SSB.
Hmm.
Okay. Because I am also partly into the aviation psychology. First of all, SSB is one exam where you can walk in with zero preparation. Okay. In fact, it is of no use if you prepare for SSB and go. The SSB has got a system, a very scientific system, to filter out those who have it in them and those who do not have it in them. And that is why you must have seen that they have tests which which are very vague. A picture perception test, a picture they will show you and ask you to write. Okay, you may be able to put your mind and put a positive picture for a story for one picture, but actually what happens over 20 pictures and over 30 words that they give you, you actually cannot manipulate your mind. The job of an SSB is that they take out the information from your inner conscious. Okay, so I was aware of this thing, that you don't need to prepare for this particular exam. So I walked into the exam as if I was walking in without even knowing what I'm going for. I presented myself, did what they asked me to do, and including the interview. I still remember there were people who were preparing for having two hobbies, because they said you must have a hobby. In fact, I must quote one particular example to tell you what SSB is looking for. So he asked me, what sports do you play? I said, sir, I'm not into any sports. He said, why? Because you're a young man. I said, I find these sports like cricket and all very mundane. He said, really? I said, yes, sir, because I'm into something called adventure sports. So he asked, that's very interesting. Tell me, why do you say that? So I started off with telling him, how adventure sport tests your mental ability, your risk-taking ability, your skills. Like I'm into mountaineering. So I explained the whole thing to him. So I said, that is a sport in which all your skills get tested. Your risk taking, your mental ability, your physical fitness, your team spirit, because There'll be times when two of you are there climbing, and you know your other person's life is in danger. You have an option: leave him there, and or you can bring him down with you, and you know that is the ultimate test of your integrity. So he I had almost probably a 10 minutes conversation with him, a young lad, probably a colonel that time who was there, I don't remember. uh, and we are talking on this thing. So what I'm trying to say is that you only have this little liberty in a SSB where you can channelize the talk in the direction you want, despite starting with a negative statement.
Got it.
So they are not looking for a structured positive statement that you have. They are looking for what is the meat in you. And they are experienced enough to take out that meat from you. So a psychologist, a group task officer, and the interview, they all can take out the meat in you. And actually what they do is they try to compare the notes and see whether all three are approving you or not. It doesn't matter at what percentage. So as long as you cross the threshold mark and they all agree to say that yes, good for becoming an officer, you are selected. If there is any mismatch between the three, they discuss what is a mismatch and throw you out. So SSB is a procedure. So like I told you in the beginning itself, I said that I am going to make a statement which will not be very palatable to people. SSB is a exam where you can walk in without any preparation. If you have it in you, you will get selected. If you do not have it in you, you will not get selected. That is why general's sons also get rejected, and a farmer's son gets accepted. Whereas the farmer's son doesn't have any, he doesn't even, probably is wearing a shoe for the first time, and a general's son has never worn a slipper. But that is the big difference. Another thing I would tell you on this is that the training what people go through
after selection,
before selection,
okay,
what people go through these
academies and all.
I personally don't believe that that training has got any meaning. You had it in you, because of which you got selected. And even if you got training, those chaps there, they can make out that you have got trained. So what they do first is they remove that trained portion out of you and take you as a person with minus that trained portion. Now they assess you and see whether you have it in you. So they know how to, I would say, rationalize your level, and then they say, okay, minus this training also, this boy seems to be acceptable, and they will take you. So the way you speak in the interview, the way you do things, they can make out that you have got trained. Because who are these trainers? They are ex-SSB officers. So they are bringing in all that information from the SSB and giving it to you. And those SSB officers can make out that here is a man who is actually talking the language of SSB. So it's not required. So I know it will disillusion a lot of people that SSB can be done without any training.
Got it, sir. Sir, I have one question on what you do here. Like, how do you train people or probably remove the fear of flying from people? If you could briefly explain.
Yeah. So what happens is the fear of flying is basically because of things that you don't know about what happens in the cockpit, or things you misunderstand. Okay. So that creates some myths, and myths usually result in mistrust. So the whole issue is about mistrust in aviation. Okay. So, and here, say, you will hear a lot of things like, in this accident itself, a lot of things you have heard. But suppose you have come to a cockpit, flown with a domain expert, understood from him face to face how an aircraft is flown, seen him fly for you, and let you fly yourself. These yokes, you can fly from that side. So if all this you can do, that everything about the aeroplane is trustworthy, and that trust is what brings you back to flying. So my simulator here is used to show you how a pilot flies, to let you fly, and answer all your questions that you may have. After a session here, we go to the airport.
Okay.
Yeah. And in the airport, we do what is known as an airport module. That means I tell you everything that you see out of the facade of the airport, terminal, and see on the air side that is happening, the takeoff, the loading, the lot of activities happen there if you look at it. So all those things I explained. Then we actually get into a real flight from Bangalore to Bombay, Bombay to this place in any of the airlines, Indigo or Akasa. If you say you have a fear of flying of Max, Boeing Max, I would forcibly fly you in a Akasa. If you think that the Airbus is untrustworthy, let's say, then I will fly you in that place, because fear of flying is about letting you encounter what you fear. So in that we explain what we experience whatever we explained here, and once you have all these perspective in your mind, put in a very structured way, there is no question of fear remaining in your fly. And very soon, if you have stopped flying, you'll start flying, and very soon if you are flying with some discomfort, you will start flying happily.
Got it, sir. So there's also a statistics which says, airlines remain safer compared to the number of accidents which happens on the road, because the number of accidents that people face in India on roads is still much higher, and also your survival rate is much higher on the flights. So how do you interpret that? Is that correct understanding?
Oh, very much.
Yeah.
But it is a statement which needs to be validated. So I'll validate it for you. There are about 41 million flights that happen in a year. I'm talking only about commercial flights. Okay, 41 million. In this 41 million, about 4.5 billion emplanement happens. Emplanement means every time a person gets into an aeroplane.
Okay.
So if I get into an aeroplane 10 times in a year, it's 10 emplanement. I'm just clarifying that because some people will say, इतना तो population ही नहीं है world का जितना तुमने बोल दिया है. Okay, so there are about 4.5 billion emplanements and 41 million flights. How many accidents happen in a year? 5, 7? How many people die in accidents? Anything from 0 to 300? So you see the figures, 300 deaths in 41 million flights and out of 4.5 billion travelers. So if you start working out the percentage, I think you will have to put a lot of zeros after the decimal. So it's that safe. And when you look at the accidents on the road or anywhere for that matter, they are actually huge, humongous figures on a daily basis. Maybe 500, 1,000, 2,000. How many die in accidents? Those figures are there probably in the ministry reports and all. But what I would want you to look at is 300 deaths in 41 million flights out of 4.5 billion emplanements. Aviation is safe.
Got it, sir. So I just have one more question on what you spoke about. You should be physically fit, mentally fit when you're getting into an aircraft, especially if you're a pilot. You yourself have been on a cockpit, and you would have spoken to a lot of pilots also. So have you come across similar scenario where somebody was not mentally fit, probably because he was going through something emotionally draining? Have you seen something similar? Because I saw a couple of videos by a few pilots who said probably he was given an example of the German flight which had crashed, saying the pilot was not in the right mental state or something of that sort.
Okay. Now this mental health amongst pilot is become a topic in after this accident. It has been an issue earlier also, but I think this particular accident has highlighted the mental health issue. So I will first take you to how it is in the Air Force. Pilots are taught, see, we are all human beings. So we have our own worries and our own temperaments, our personality issues. So pilots are typically taught one mantra, that is, when you get into the cockpit, leave all your worries behind. And that is a mantra which everyone cannot do. Usually you carry a baggage of your worries from your home to workplace, your workplace to home, and in fact to a conference, to any. But This is a this is a specific mantra that pilots learn in the Air Force. I'll start with the Air Force first. So whenever a pilot in the Air Force gets into a cockpit, he keeps all his worries away. So when he's in the cockpit, he is fully available to do a mission.
Got it.
That is how fighter pilots, transport pilots in the Air Force do difficult missions and come back successfully. Okay. Again, when they are back, now they keep the worries about the aeroplane away, and they talk about, you know, their child's admission, their wife's bad health today, or a spat they had with their commanding officer, and so on and so forth. Now, in Air Force, it's possible because we are a close-knit system, and we have a very good, ongoing observation of every person. So in Air Force, there's a system that if I as a commanding officer feel, or the flight commander feel that you are not in a state of mind today, I will tell Dinesh, don't fly. Let Shankar go for this flight today. And next day when you're fit, we'll do that. Now in civil aviation, there is nothing of that sort. So there is a likelihood that a person is suffering lot of these mental. I would club is I'm a aviation psychologist. I would say that I'm studying that, so I'm using some of those terminologies. Mental health ground related anxieties you are supposed to keep away, but in civil aviation there is no mechanism to ensure that a pilot who's coming into the cockpit is keeping his ground related anxieties away or not, for two reasons. A, there is no such indoctrination, because I said in the military there is an indoctrination to this effect. Second thing is that in civil aviation you keep flying with unknown pilots.
Yeah.
Like no two pilots know each other most of the time. You meet them at the operation room and you start doing the flight with them. So there is no way of ongoing assessment of the pilot. You come to know only when there is when some problem occurs. But is that statement completely true that you come to know only when the problem occurs? No, it's not like that. So in a cockpit, when you are interacting in a crew resource management environment, there are certain indicators which come to you. Unfortunately, these indicators are not reported when you come back to the ground, because there's no such system of reporting. Like in the Air Force, if I was flying with a youngster and the youngster had a attitude, I would immediately come down and tell the boss man, sir, I think he needs some amount of counseling from you about this attitude, he said that. And that will generate a whole amount of assessment about that person. So this assessment would be only with the intention of improving him.
Got it.
Now there is no such closed loop system in civil aviation. And second thing is that in civil aviation, there are a lot of commercial issues. You know, there are a lot of pay related issues. There are a lot of rostering related issues, fatigue related issues, which are supposed to be addressed from safety angle, but they are mostly looked at from commercial angle. So ideally, safety is supposed to supersede commercial, but we know from the real world that the balance is rarely maintained, and it's country to country. It is airline to airline. This is one reason that the possibility of a person having some issue and flying in the cockpit is a real scenario.
Got it, sir.
And once you are carrying your ground related worries into the cockpit, two things can happen. Either you can have loss of efficiency, which is also very dangerous, because loss of efficiency in an emergent situation is as good as a bad pilot. And second thing is, you could go to extreme ends also. Why I'm saying that is, we have the case of the German wings. Okay, for sure, German wings is for sure. But apart from that, also there are I know of 5 or 6 accidents which are attributed to mental health issues, because I read the accident reports.
Got it.
So from there, and we have unresolved issues also, like the China. There was a Boeing 737 over the Chinese territory from cruise altitude. It just dived down.
Okay.
China never generated the final report. So whenever you don't generate a final report, there is something amiss about it. So there is a speculation on that also. But we, in aviation, as an investigator, we never speculate. We always talk about what is there in a report, because a report is prepared by a responsible person, a responsible agency, and a responsible government.
Got it.
So I can speak for those 3 or 4 reports that are there.
Got it.
And disclaimer, we are not talking about the AI 171, whether it was for this reason or for the other reason.
Got it, sir. So my final question would be, whenever such investigation happens, it usually happens through an independent organization. But in the news, it was said even the Boeing is going to help and support, right? So isn't it a conflict of interest? The creator itself is also analyzing.
Okay. So that is actually inbuilt into the system.
Okay.
So the accident investigation board is cannot have all specialists. Okay. To be very honest, the accident investigation board comes across the same type of aeroplane, the same model of the aeroplane, maybe once or twice in their lifetime. Okay. An investigator, he may not come across a 787 the next time he's investigating. So it is impossible for an investigator to know all the aeroplanes. Actually, the fact is that investigator only knows just about the aeroplanes. So how do you get to the details? Like I said, to know the why and how of an accident, you need to take the help from the so in air crash investigation, the majority of the data comes from those who are likely to be accused in that, like the designer, the manufacturer, the airline. Airline would always, like Air India, would want to defend itself. But the beauty is that the investigator, by virtue of his training, can take out the relevant information from whatever is said there. And if not, he knows how to ask what question is relevant.
Got it.
And that is how they do it. So second thing is, as the investigators become more and more experienced, their accuracy of figuring out the root cause increases. That's the reason why it is said an investigator is not a person who just you pick up from an airline and you say, Captain Dabal, you are the investigator for this particular aircraft. Overnight, you cannot create an investigator. Investigator is actually made over and over and over many accidents. And in this context, I must tell you, NTSB, which I call the gold standards in investigation of air crash, they investigate about 2,000 air crash accidents in a year.
Okay.
2,000. And out of that, 20 are major accidents. Major accidents are something like what we had. Out of the 2,000, rest are, those small ones. Cessna fell on the highway in New York, or something happened with a helicopter. But mind you, whether it's a small or a big accident, the big aeroplane, the lessons are always the same. The procedure is the same. The effort put in has to be the same, because it's the same thing which will happen. Only thing is, it will not be a Boeing which will be called. It will be Robinson who probably made that aeroplane, or a Cessna who made that aeroplane. So an investigating agency basically is only the coordinating agency.
Got it.
Rest, to answer your question, air crash investigation cannot be done without the help of exactly those people who are more are likely to be accused. And why I use this statement, likely to be accused, is because in an air crash investigation, there are only those 6 or 7 elements which can be faulted. The designer, the manufacturer, the airline, the pilot.
Yeah.
That's it. So maybe 1 or 2 more things, the airport, and you can talk about the small things like the engineer or the loader who loaded the aeroplane, or the dispatcher who worked out the weight. But by and large, who all can be faulted. So you have specialists for that, and from them you get the information. And that is why air crash investigations are usually able to pinpoint what happened.
Got it.
I hope I answered it.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
sir. Yeah.
okay.
So thanks a lot, sir, for your time, and you explained us a lot of things about your own experience. Gave us visuals of how a cockpit looks like in a simulator.
Yeah, you want me to just operate it and show?
Sure,
Probably,
sure,
yeah.
sure. Yes, sir.
So I would want you to at least have half a minute of the video here to tell you those big things that people were talking about in this AI 171 crash. This is the throttle, okay, and these are the places where those engine switches are.
Okay.
Okay, and in this is a generic throttle, but there this has got latches, and only over the latches that you can bring the thing. So how we fly is that we open the power with the yoke, we take a left turn or a right turn or climb or descend, and this is the instrumentation that we look at, which tells us whether I'm climbing, whether what's my airspeed here, what is the compass direction, whether I am attitude wise, my aeroplane is like this, or it is turning like this. So these are some of the things that the fundamentals of aeroplane that we explain. You have a lot more instrumentation which is also explained to the people, but a simulator is actually a place where you can even show them while you're flying how your aircraft looks like from outside. You see a right turn, a left turn,
Got it.
a climb, a descent, and so on.